Understanding a quote is an important part of researching investments. This is because key information can be found within a quote. This information can affect your order entry decisions, like at which price to place your order. Let's pull up a quote on WebBroker. Last price is the last price that the security traded for. Change is the difference between the current price and the price from the previous business day at the time the market closed. For example, in ABC1 stock, yesterday the stock closed with the last traded price of $10. Today, the stock is trading at $10.50, meaning the stock is up 50 cents, which is shown under the change column in green. If these numbers are red, then this means the stock price is down from yesterday. Whether the price went up or down, the change is shown as both a dollar amount and percentage. Next, we have the bid price. A market is made up of buyers and sellers, and when they agree on a price, a trade goes through. You can think of the bid price as the highest price that buyers are willing to pay to purchase the stock or ETF right now. Depending on how often the stock or ETF is traded, there can be hundreds of bids at any given moment. On the other end of the market, you have the sellers, and they are represented by the ask price. The ask is the lowest price that someone is willing to sell the stock or ETF for right now. Next, bid and ask lots. Since this lesson covers quotes, we have to spend a little bit of time on some of this industry jargon. So, what are lots? Lots refers to the number of shares that are available at the current best bid and ask prices. You sometimes see this field referred to as bid size and ask size. There are three types of lots. Board lots, sometimes called round lots, are any order size that you can divide by 100. Next, odd lot. These are order sizes that are not divisible by 100, like an order for 50 shares or 25. And finally, a mixed lot is where you can have both a board lot and an odd lot included in an order. For example, if you want to place an order for 125 shares, the quote will show 100 for the board lot, but the remaining 25 shares will not be displayed because it's an odd lot. Ultimately, when you look at a quote, odd lots aren't displayed, only board lots are. You might be thinking, what's the point? The reality is that it's easier to find people who are willing to buy a nice round number of shares versus an odd number, like an order for 7 shares, for example. Because of this, the exchanges made board lots as a way to standardize the unit for quotes. In a quote, board lots appear below both bid and ask. In most cases, each lot represents 100 shares if the stock is trading at $1 or higher. So, for example, if you see a bid size of 10, then this means 1,000 shares are available at the best bid price. If you place an order to sell 1,000 shares at the bid price, you should be filled for your entire quantity if all things remain the same. If you ever consider trading penny stocks, please be aware that in the Canadian markets, the lot values do change when a stock price is below $1. From 10 cents to 99 cents, a board lot represents 500 shares. For those below 10 cents, each board lot represents 1,000 shares. Let's move on now and look at the other info displayed on a quote. Volume. This is the total number of shares that have been traded throughout the day. It helps show how actively the stock or ETF has been trading. For example, if a company has been in the news a lot, you may see that this value is high, possibly in the millions. Day range lets you see the highest and lowest prices that the stock or ETF traded for that day. In WebBroker, the first number represents the high, and the second number in the brackets is the low. For example, this stock traded up to a high price of $11 and a low price of $9.98. This is like the next one, 52-week range, except this shows the highest and lowest trading prices from the past 52 weeks. This is useful if you would like some historical context on how a stock or ETF has moved over the past year. Next to the quote tab, you see another tab called Fundamentals. Here you can find additional info to think about before you place a trade, like market capitalization. This is the total value of a company's outstanding shares, the ones that are still available for investors to buy and sell. This value is reached by multiplying the number of outstanding shares by the current market price per share. It is a general measure of the size of a publicly traded company. For example, if ABC1 stock has 1 million shares outstanding and is trading at $80 per share, then its market capitalization is 80 million. PE ratio stands for price to earnings ratio. This is calculated by dividing a company's current share price by its earnings per share. The PE ratio gives you an idea of how much investors are willing to pay above a company's current earnings per share to buy the stock. Companies across different sectors show different PE ratio ranges. For example, tech companies tend to have relatively high PE ratios because typically investors are willing to pay more to purchase their stocks due to their high growth potentials. So it's important to compare PE ratios with companies within the same industry. Estimated EPS stands for estimated earnings per share. This shows how much a company's expected profit or losses per share. If ABC1 stock shows an estimated EPS of $0.25, then this means they are expected to earn 25 cents per share. Next earnings shows the expected date of a company's upcoming earnings report. This information is important because the stock can react positively or negatively after an earnings announcement if what is reported is not in line with expectations. Changes to the company or forward guidance reports could also impact the price of the stock. Previous dividend amount is the amount of money that a company paid per share to their shareholders on the last dividend payout. This number only appears if the stock pays regular dividends. The same goes for the next two, dividend yield and ex-dividend date. Dividend yield is the annual dividend amount represented as a percentage of the stock price. For example, if the dividend yield shows 5%, then this means that each year a shareholder can expect a dividend of 5% of the current price of a share. Finally, ex-dividend date. Think of this as a cutoff date to receive the next upcoming dividend. For example, if you buy a stock on or after that date, then you won't get the next dividend payment. You must buy the stock before this date to be eligible to receive the next payment. That's how you read a quote on WebBroker. Now, how do you access a quote? There are a few different ways you can do this. You can click the Quotes Quick Launch icon. You can click Quotes under Tools in the Research tab. And you can find a quote by creating an order entry ticket. You can also save your favorite quotes to a watch list as well. This is explained in more detail in the WebBroker Essentials course. The information you find in a quote is always up to date. This is because TD Direct Investing provides real-time quotes. If you need to update the quote, simply hit refresh to get the most up-to-date information. However, if you notice that your quotes are delayed by at least 15 minutes, it may be because you did not complete the exchange agreements. To confirm, go into your preferences and check that all your agreements have a green checkbox to indicate that they've been completed.